right, ladies and gentlemen, really quick, I just want to tell you about one of our fantastic sponsors, and that is Soldier Girl Coffee Company. So if you are watching the video, you can definitely check out the screen share here. I am on our website, and you can go to affiliates, or this will be changing to sponsors soon, and click on Soldier Girl Coffee. As it says on the website, Soldier Girl Coffee is a veteran-owned company. They definitely provide the absolute best coffee I've ever had. It definitely has the pick-me-up that I need in the morning. If we check out her website, of course, down in the right-hand corner, you can definitely chat with her. You can get exclusive discounts she offers to our listeners just by putting your email address in the box on the website. As you can see right here, she has French vanilla cream, 100% Colombian, snickerdoodle Hawaiian hazelnut, and she offers regular as well as CBD-infused coffee. So be sure to go and check out her website. Of course, you can get there by going to our website at businessandbrewshow.com/soldier-girl-coffee, or you can just click the link in the show notes and it'll take you right here. You click on view products and it takes you over to shop around. She even has a little bit of merch. I know when I ordered my bag of Colombian roast, I really enjoy Colombian roast, and she has the best Colombian roast that I have ever had. And of course is a veteran-owned business, but I got a sticker as well as a thank you note. So I really enjoyed that. So now I have my very own Soldier Girl coffee mug that I can drink my Soldier Girl coffee out of. So once again, right now, exclusive discounts just for our listeners. Everybody drinks coffee, whether you're a veteran or a business owner. You're going to need it. You're going to need it for your staff. You're going to need it for your break room. You're going to need it for your house. So go ahead right now, click the link in the description, in the show notes, right here, right now, and go get some Soldier Girl coffee today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am super excited and absolutely have to tell you about a phenomenal way to build your website and keep it up to date. My name is Ryan Smeltz, host of the Business and Brews Show and co-host of Veteran Talk Show. And if you are watching this, I want you to pay close attention to my screen share. This is the website of the Business and Brews Show. And the way I am talking about keeping your website, building it, getting it up to date, and having it managed is by Online Rob. So Rob is absolutely phenomenal. And what I absolutely love about this is he was able to customize the website exactly how I asked him. So as you can see, the homepage has a ton of different pictures from different episodes. Of course, here on the episodes page, you're able to listen on your favorite platform, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio Public, iHeartRadio, or Castbox. You can connect with us, of course, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Listen to the 5 most recent episodes right here on the website. And of course, you can find our sponsors such as Soldier Girl Coffee and, of course, Online Rob. So the best thing about this is, as you can see on my screen, if you're watching, Online Rob is a veteran-owned small business. He will design, build, and manage the entire website for you. That comes with free unlimited updates, a domain name, your business email, and a logo if you need it. All included for our listeners is only $2.99 per year. As it says right on the screen, there are absolutely no contracts and no hidden fees. I handed this to him. He had it back within a very short amount of time. And anytime I need an update or have a question, he is there to help out. So I strongly encourage you, once again, for our listeners, you can go to businessandbrewshow.com/online-rob, or you can click on the link in the show notes. If you are not watching the video version, the link is definitely in the show notes. Be sure to check out our website. I'm super happy with his work. I'm really excited that I no longer have to figure out where to get an SSL, how to install it. I don't have to install the pixel for my Facebook ads. I don't have to manage any of the analytical tools such as Google Analytics, and I don't have to figure out how to connect the domain or set up a business email. He handles all of that for me for the low price of $2.99 per year. So once again, for our listeners, Online Rob offering this exclusive deal. Be sure to go check it out. Make sure when you fill out the form, you put that you heard about him from us in the How Did You Hear About Us box. Business and Brews Show or Veteran Talk Show. Of course, you can always use my name, Ryan Smeltz. And no longer, as a business owner, will you have to build and manage your own website. Have Online Rob do it for you. Take advantage of this exclusive deal, only $2.99 per year. Best of all, he can handle everything from, of course, a podcast to an e-commerce site. No matter what kind of business you run, Online Rob can handle it for you. So go right now, click on the link, fill out the form, take advantage of this exclusive offer, and be sure to put the show name in his How Did You Hear About Us box. Now, let's get back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Morning Brews. This is the short segment that is respectful of your time and gives you the kick in the ass you need to get your day started. So sit down, get your cup of coffee, get ready, and welcome to Friday's edition of Morning Brews. I'm super excited to talk to you about today's topic. It is responsibility. I have 3 bullet points for you, of course. Number 1, boss is responsible. 2, windows versus mirrors. And 3, teach by showing. So one of the reasons why I chose today's topic is because it's something that's been weighing heavily on me this week and the past couple of days. I think it's something that's really important, and it's something that's often misconstrued, misunderstood, and misdirected. So I'm going to do my best to go through this and kind of lay out some things that I've seen, obviously 10 years in the Army and the past 5 in some sort of leadership position. I have seen a lot of different styles, types of personalities, leadership and management as a whole. So knowing and understanding how responsibility works, I think, is key to a business. And it's also very important in leadership roles to be able to grow and develop your team. So number 1, the boss is responsible. I think this is one of the key points that is often misunderstood, because the team often feels like the boss should be responsible. And sometimes the boss knows that they are responsible. However, that communication doesn't always go 2 ways. And I don't think it necessarily should. When I run my warehouse and something goes haywire, I take responsibility for it. However, at the end of the day, we're a team, and sometimes fixing that mistake may require more than one person. So I go to my team and I say, hey, maybe I grab 2 of them, come help me do this, knock this out. Here's this. So one of the downfalls of being in charge of a team is that when a mistake is made and you take responsibility for it doesn't matter if it was you that did it or the people underneath. Sometimes it can cause more work for everyone. That's just the unfortunate part. That's one reason why business owners and employers look for people who can work as a team. Because at the end of the day, if the team is losing the World Series and they need to make a comeback, they have to work together to do it. It doesn't matter if the coach or the captain of the team or whoever might be responsible for screwing up to get them there. Everybody has to work together to get it done. So I screw up, I go to my team, I ask for help. I think the biggest key here is, and it comes to one of my sub bullet points here, you must be self-aware. So I am self-aware in a sense that yesterday I think we had 3 different hiccups where I was talking to the boss man and I was just like, hey, that's my mistake. What can we do to fix it? What impact is this going to have on the business? One of them did require me to go and get a little bit of help. There obviously wasn't a lot of animosity because it was just basically collecting some things that we had to send back on a truck. It wasn't a lot of work. It didn't take a lot of time. And I believe I have a really good team in a sense that they're willing to help out to get the job done. However, I didn't necessarily go to them and say, hey, I screwed this up, because it also wasn't necessarily coming across as a screw up. So it's just like this one extra thing that we got to do in order to accomplish the overall project. So the biggest thing I'm getting at is just because you're in charge, you don't have to report to your team every single time on, hey, I made a mistake. I wrote the wrong word. I misspelled something. I screwed up this project. Like, you don't have to. I would say that if you're asking them to do more work, a little explanation behind that would be nice. And you can definitely take responsibility in that situation. But where I see a breakdown in communication is sometimes the team feels like the boss isn't being held responsible or isn't taking responsibility, when in fact that's most of what they do all the time. I know that was a little bit of a long intro to the first bullet point, but I do have 3 sub bullet points under there. Number 1 is you are the boss of you. So that kind of flips it on its head. So a lot of people, and that's one reason why I use that term boss, because there's many different terms and positions, but I want to keep people focused on the fact that when I say the boss is responsible, if you are an associate within the organization and say that's like the bottom level. So in the Army, you're a private E1. At Walmart, you're a Walmart associate. Whatever the tiers are, whatever the levels are, if it starts with you and it works up from there and you have a team lead and they have a department manager, whatever it looks like, you're number 1. So if the boss is always responsible and you're the boss of you, if something goes wrong with your stuff, whether that is your scheduling, your projects, whatever it looks like, whether that is something that you were supposed to get done, you didn't get done, you showed up late based off of your schedule. All of that falls back on you, because of course, you have a boss, but when it's at your level, the boss is responsible. So I want you to keep that in mind. I've been in the exact same position where I felt that the boss wasn't taking responsibility. However, when it came to me being on time or being late for events or meetings and not getting projects done or tasks completed on time, I am responsible for that. And that's something that took me a long time to fully grasp and understand. So next, not always seen by the team. I talked about that a little bit already, how sometimes, especially as you move up, and basically what I'm getting at, we work in a very remote environment now. So sometimes you have an owner of a company who does take responsibility for what goes on in that company. And you may never know, because you only see them on Zoom for maybe the Zoom meeting every day. So sure, you communicate. I'm sure they try to make it more open, and definitely come across it. Hey, at the end of the day, it's my company. I am fully responsible for what goes on in this company. However, that's not always something that is seen by the team. And then last, must be self-aware. I talked about that already. It's something I don't believe everyone is. I think I struggle with it sometimes, but it's super important to take stock. And I think there are several things that can help us do this. I myself, part of my morning routine is meditation. I listen to it on my phone with my headphones on, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes, just to clear your head. But taking stock of yourself, that's not something that's done with anyone else. So, and that's one reason I believe that, people like Gary Vaynerchuk say, don't worry about what other people think, because there's always going to be someone who believes that you're an asshole. There's always going to be somebody who believes that they could do what you do. There's always going to be somebody who thinks that you're not the person that you should be. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If you sit down, if you're self-aware enough to say, okay, when it comes to a positive attitude, I'm really good at that. When it comes to taking responsibility, I'm not as good at that. So I need to improve over here, and over here, I need to just help other people learn how to have a positive attitude. So be self-aware, know what you're taking responsibility for. Notice when you're trying to pass the buck, and realize that that's not something you need to be doing. Windows versus mirrors. I'm going to try to squeeze all three of these bullet points into this episode. Basically, you've heard the concept before. I've got 2 sub bullet points under there. Good stuff requires windows, bad stuff requires mirrors. And basically, if you're the owner of the company, if you're the boss, if you're the manager, when something good happens, you need to be looking out the window at your team. So you would say, we did this, y'all did this. When bad stuff happens, it requires a mirror. So that's where you're doing the self-assessment. You're saying, hey, something bad happened. It must be something that I'm doing. What can I do to improve? How can I learn? And I mean, it all comes back, like, everybody on every level can do this. So just because something gets screwed up within the organization doesn't mean other people can't, take responsibility for their own actions. Okay. For example, something that took place yesterday was a computer error that I guess you would call it administrative or clerical error. I put the wrong number into the computer. So it was me. Like, at the end of the day on the keyboard, that was me that did that. And if you take a look at all the labels that come out of the printers and all the paperwork that we sign and fill out and everything, I can't think of a single thing that my team would have seen to catch the error. So if I screwed up the error on the computer and the labels come out and they notice that the label was wrong, then they would be responsible. If we continued and put the wrong labels on, they would be responsible for not catching my error, because that is an expectation that I set with everyone. We need to be checking behind each other, because it's a very high attention to detail work that we do. So they would be responsible for not catching that, hey, these labels don't match what we're supposed to be working with. But I would be responsible for making the error in the computer. But nothing that came out of the computer, none of the labels, nothing that they saw contained the error. So there was no way they would have been able to catch it. So that's where I look in the mirror and I say, hey, what can I do different? And I'm lucky enough to have someone that I can talk to on the phone. He actually caught my error and called me, and I discussed it. And I basically bounced a couple ideas off him. Hey, this is what happened. Obviously, it's my fault. what are the ramifications going to be for the business, and what can we do to prevent it in the future? And we discussed it. We came up with a good solution, and now it should not happen in the future. So that's basically windows versus mirrors. At the end of the month, when we do excellent numbers, I go to the team and I say, hey, great job. We did excellent numbers. You guys are awesome. So I am running a little bit long, but I want to hit on this last one real quick. Teach by showing. So show others how to take responsibility. Once again, I think this is something very difficult because maybe there is a mistake or a hiccup in my own personal life that happened that I take responsibility for. However, I'm not necessarily going to go calling up my friends and my boss and my teammates and all these other people saying, hey, I screwed up and I take responsibility for it. Help others take responsibility. So this is something I believe is also miscommunicated too, because oftentimes we feel that others should be taking responsibility and want to help lead them to coming to that conclusion that they should be taking responsibility. However, you can't just walk around and point at people and say, hey, you messed up, you should own that, because that's not received very well. So that can definitely be a challenging task. I remember one of my first interviews when I started doing content was with Dr. Bill Denning. I believe he's an ordained minister, as well as he was the campus dean for the university I went to, and awesome guy. And he actually said that one of his favorite things to do was to help people take responsibility. And I found that interesting. However, I guess I'm more interested in that from a perspective of the people he would talk to outside of the school, because I believe the leadership dynamic can definitely change that conversation. If your boss, or in this case, the dean of the school, is sitting in front of you telling you, hey, I understand that you want me to change your grade because you were late, but are there things that we could do to not be late, like leave a little bit earlier, check the weather, prepare the night before, fill up on gas on the way home the night before instead of the morning of, not stop at the gas station to get coffee and snacks, stuff like that. So I might reach out to him and see if I can have him as a guest again. I'm not sure if he's got a lot of time these days, but yeah, definitely helping others take responsibility. I can see how that would be a challenging task. And the last thing I have for you guys is no excuses. At the end of the day, all excuses do is basically create a list of reasons why you believe whatever happened, or why you couldn't get something done. And the definition of excuses doesn't change just because you want it to. So if you say, well, the reason I was late was because of traffic, that's an excuse. Okay. You can't say that you're not making an excuse just by saying I'm not making excuses. It doesn't negate the fact that a justification for you not following through or not accomplishing whatever it was you had to accomplish, justification for those failures by definition is an excuse. So I listened to a motivational video. I've put the link out before on YouTube on Be Inspired. I listen to a lot of their playlists, and the one I listen to most is Morning Motivation. And it starts off with excuses sound best to those making them up. So, just that comes back to being self-aware. If you're not aware that you're making excuses, you need to sit back, listen to yourself, reevaluate that conversation. If you realize that when someone's asking you, hey, did you get done what you were supposed to get done, and you didn't, and you're not coming up with some sort of solution to make it happen, or asking for feedback, or taking responsibility for not doing it, then you're making an excuse. So just be aware of that. Be aware when other people do it to you and you point it out, they're not going to like it. There's nothing you can really do about that. Just be tactful in your approach and see if you can help people who are making excuses to take responsibility for their own actions. And I think it'll make us all better people in the long run. So hopefully that is helpful. I hope you guys are getting something from these episodes. If you are, make sure to subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, tell your friends to subscribe as well. And I will see you on the next episode of Morning Brews. Thank you so much for listening or watching Morning Brews. This, of course, has been the kick in the ass you need to get your day started. My name is Ryan Smelts. I appreciate you tuning in and listening to this. If you've gotten any value from this or any segment on business and brews, be sure to leave us a 5-star review. Tell your friends, make sure you subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe, and tell them to leave us a 5-star review. Thank you, and shout out to our sponsors, Soldier Girl Coffee and Online Rob, and I will see you on the next